So real pleasure to be talking with you all today. And as introduced, my talk is about how engineering helped me help my brother and some other people along the way. So first of all, meet my brother Luke. And I think he's the one wearing the white shoes. He's always been the shy twin, but honestly, I've got no idea. And before you ask, we can't read each other's minds. We don't have the same fingerprints. And if you kick me in the shin, he wouldn't feel it. But what we do have is a special bond that grew as our minds and body grew together. So close that we would often get confused about whose memory was who, famously arguing for many hours over who owned the rock pajamas and who owned the Little Mermaid. And as you imagine, we had similar tastes. Once on a trip to the Cadbury's factory, in two completely separate groups, in the gift shop at the end, out of a choice of thousands of different chocolate bars and items, we both chose exactly the same branded Cadbury rubber and a Curly Whirly. I think fantastic taste. And we also tended towards the same subjects. So I'm ashamed to say really that one of the main reasons why I moved initially into engineering was how little you had to write. And when I learned that these 6 paragraphs on the right could be represented by just 3 variables in this equation here, that had both of us convinced that engineering was the subject for us. After college, we diverged a little bit. I went to Southeast Asia to try and forget everything that I'd learned, and Luke, ever the more diligent and sensible twin, did a year in industry. But we converged once more to both study engineering at the same time at Oxford. And as with most twins, it's only after that time apart that you start to really appreciate the special bond you have, but also the unique individual that you share it with. And it was around this time that Luke suffered a very serious traumatic brain injury. He spent many months in a coma. He was very fortunate to survive in the first place. And it's not like a movie. You don't just wake up. It's a slow emergence, first moving of the eyes and a twitch of the finger. And after a long time, saying his first words. And after this period really began the real challenge for Luke. And I think it's the most difficult journey someone can go through. He had to learn how to walk, how to talk, how to feed and wash himself all over again. And he did this in an intense phase of neurorehabilitation. And this was all compounded by the physical and cognitive disabilities that he was dealing with. So his memory was severely impacted. He remembered parts of our childhood, but forming or taking short-term to long-term memories was and still is a major challenge. Luke worked incredibly hard in that period. It was really an inspiration for us family and friends to see that commitment. But what followed was called the care cliff. And that's that time after rehabilitation ends and you go through that intensive period and then you go home. And the reality is that this typically lasts between 2 and 6 months. And why? It's lack of funding really, but it's also based on an old model of the brain where it's more like an electronic circuit where if it's damaged, it can't be repaired. And the truth is that the brain is much more plastic. It's more like a network of roads where if a motorway is damaged, traffic after time will find a way to diverge. And over time, that just gets faster and faster and the traffic flows once more. And this is neuroplasticity, and it happens over a very, very long time period. But most people don't even get neurorehabilitation in the first place. It's too expensive, there aren't enough specialists, and it can't meet the current demand. And this puts a huge amount of pressure on caregivers, social sector, particularly family members who spend 8 hours a day caring for loved ones. They're often forced to become kind of impromptu rehabilitators. And the individual themselves, it's over 80% will have some form of long-term cognitive impairment, most commonly memory and executive functioning. This makes all this kind of continuing care, life management much, much more difficult. And this is a problem that doesn't just affect brain injury. It's stroke, tumours, dementia. They all have similar problems. They also share the very few resources available. So I knew that I wanted to help my brother, but it was clear that this problem is a lot bigger. and we couldn't see many people doing something about it. But where to begin? So during Luke's rehab, he used this cutting-edge bit of kit. You may be familiar to people if they live in the 90s that this is a paging device. But to be fair, it was quite effective. It would practically remind Luke of things like medication and appointments, but it was also helping him reinforce things he was doing at neurorehab at home. And this concept of having an external device or a kind of a crutch or scaffold for your cognition was really exciting. So we got together with a few engineering friends, Rufus and Claudia, and co-founded Neumind with a broad mission of trying to improve the lives of people living with cognitive impairment. We started off by basically taking that functionality of this old school page device and seeing what we could do with it when you had all the modern technology that's available in a smartphone. It was codenamed Alfred after Batman's butler. That was my brother's idea. And then some of the first things we did was the ability for the individual to add others close to them. So the clinicians, but also family, caregivers and support workers, to form a care circle where they can all collectively help manage and support this individual remotely. We developed contextual prompting, which is location-triggered things, prompts or reminders, and also spaced repetition algorithms to help people remember stuff. There's quite a lot of that in the language learning world, but there's nothing really for people with memory impairment. But as other people started using the app and we spoke to more people, we realized that really memory is just one small part of this jigsaw. And if you're trying to help people reach those higher levels of, living a happy, purposeful life, you need adequate support in some of these areas to help people move upwards. And as engineers, we didn't really have that knowledge. So a few years ago, we teamed up with some of the top neuropsychologists in the country. We looked at the therapies that they're currently delivering and trying to take an engineering mindset to break that down into kind of actionable things that we could deliver with software or make more efficient. And what we have now is quite different to the humble days of Alfred. It's a platform for clinicians to make the care that they deliver more efficient and also longer term, whilst also maintaining a companion app for the individual to support their cognition in everyday living. So we combine some of the we call them the tools to support the cognition. That was stuff we kind of pioneered with Alfred or started working on with Alfred. Strategies in education from the professionals, the ability for a clinician to extend the current time that they have with a patient. And finally, a community, which is quite a special bit, really. If you've gone through a neurological injury condition, it's a life-changing experience, and it's something that you really relate to. And when you get these people together, something really special happens. They share knowledge, love, support, and they actually listen to each other often more than a clinician. So we've still got quite a long way to go. We've just started some really exciting collaborations. But I guess, what is engineering to me? I think a lot of people, or hopefully not too many people in this room, but they still think engineering is about building bridges. But in its essence, it's about bridging the gap between problem and solution. And for me personally, it gave me the toolkit and the confidence to tackle a problem that meant the world to me. And as for Luke, he's doing awesomely well. He's in the British Paralympic Development Squad after being told he would never walk again. It's quite amazing. And he's in far, far better shape than me. Still considered the handsome twin. I wanted to end with the Japanese have a word called ikigai, and it means the search for purpose and passion in life. And engineering, my love and passion for it really blossomed when it was directed at something or someone that I love. And Luke and I are still searching for our ikigai. We're struggling a little bit in that bottom bit, so if anyone wants to buy me a drink, you can find me at the bar later. But that's it. Thank you.